completely random. I'm going to attempt to cook something. I've been using this meatloaf tray to cook bacon in the Traeger. So I figured, why not actually use it to make meatloaf? So, I don't normally cook because it's such a huge pain, but I've sort of eyeballed an amount of meat that's in here. And we're gonna see if I'm capable of cooking things. Just basic meatloaf recipe. So yeah, good stuff. There's probably gonna be people out there cringing at what I'm doing here, but I'm gonna sort of do some sort of weird version of this. And I'm gonna try and not put forth a lot of effort. We're using liquid eggs, all kinds of stuff. Okay. We've got our beef here, using dehydrated chopped onions. Once again, I'm a lazy, lazy man, and this seemed a lot easier than trying to like buy onions and actually chop them or something. Plus, I kind of like dehydrated onions. You know those like weird slivers they put on those cheeseburgers at McDonald's? I actually really like those. I don't know why. I'm doing way more than this says. It says half a cup of diced yellow onion. So we're gonna do a whole cup of dehydrated. Okay. Then it wants 1/2 cup of milk. And I don't use milk, I use heavy cream for everything. So we're gonna do that whole thing here. 1/2 cup, and we're scaling this up, so it's gonna be more than that. Okay, that's some amount. 1 large beaten egg. I think these are pre-beaten for our convenience. 2 eggs is 1/2 cup. Looks like about 1/2 cup to me. Then parsley, salt, garlic powder. So instead of parsley, salt, and garlic powder, I'm using onion soup mix. That's gonna take care of most of our seasoning, as far as I can tell. I don't know how you're supposed to open this. Now, since we've already got a bunch of dehydrated onions in there and this stuff's pretty strong, we're gonna use like all of it. This might be a very powerful meatloaf, but that's fine. Okay, and then Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoon. I'm gonna go easy on this stuff though because it's super powerful. What did it say, 1 tablespoon? So 2 tablespoons? Don't need salt because that onion soup mix has a bunch. Oh, ground black pepper, un momento. I love pepper, so we're gonna go quite a bit on this, I think. This grinder doesn't work very well though. Oh, I guess there's breadcrumbs or something I was supposed to do. I think that's a fairly important part of it. I did not get those. Red wine vinegar, not doing that. Brown sugar, not doing that. I think that's pretty much it. Now I have to mix this disaster. I'm gonna find a spoon or something. I'm not putting my hands on that. I'm gonna use the seat elevator here so I can get a little bit higher off the ground. That way I'm not holding my arms up so far. Oh boy. Well, I'm gonna do this and then I'll be back. This is a lot of work. I'm not even sure how much I spent on all this stuff. I guess I will have some beef left over for burgers, but I get tired really fast. All I have to say is this better be outstanding. I'm gonna grab some coffee and then come back to this. I give up. using this spoon, and it's too much work. I've got a sink and a towel right here. I'm just going to dive in with my hands, I think. And oh, gross. If you just kind of ignore the smell and the texture and how it looks, it's not that bad. Ugh. Gonna have meatloaf sandwiches for days after this, though. The other problem with doing all this is then you have to like clean everything up. And probably wash the towels. Okay. I think we're ready to put it into the pan. I have no idea how this is gonna work without the breadcrumbs. But we're just gonna go for it. I'm assuming it probably won't hold together as well after it's cooked or something to that effect. Yeah. I think I made too much. That's okay though. I'm gonna make a couple burgers out of this, I think, too. Also, I'm not sure how full you're supposed to fill these meatloaf pans up. This looks terrible. I don't know why I seem so disgusted by this. I know it's gonna taste awesome. It's just, I don't normally cook. And, well, I mean, I used to a lot, but it's so much work. Gonna Irish up this McDonald's coffee here a little bit. Metaphorically speaking, of course, with some sort of soy product. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. This meatloaf is probably gonna be extremely over-seasoned, but I like using this Greek all-purpose seasoning on anything that's meat related. So we're gonna put a little tiny bit of that on top, just because it called for garlic and I didn't put any in there, although I did put that entire package of onion soup mix in here. Put some of that on, then a layer of ketchup. Then, oh, did I mention we're gonna do this in the Traeger wheelchair barbecue with mesquite pellets. So that's probably gonna add some interesting flavors as well. We got a bunch of things going here. There's onion, Worcestershire, this stuff, Greek seasoning, chopped onions. It's gonna be a flavor explosion. I don't think I've ever used this much ketchup in one sitting before. This is some like low sugar stuff. Okay, it's ready for the Traeger. I probably should have been preheating it this entire time. Let me lower the seat elevator back down. I do have a dilemma. A friend texted me and said he was headed over to a local brewery with some friends to hang out. I could go there and do that, or I could put this in the Traeger and wait for an hour. The other option would be stick this in the fridge and let it marinate in its own whateverness and go down and hang out at the bar. But then if I go to the bar, I'm probably gonna get food. And I actually got some chicken nuggets that I was gonna eat while this was cooking because this is gonna take like an hour, just as sort of a snack. What day is this? Thursday? I think I'm gonna stay here, eat my chicken nuggets, cook this, and just do that for now. Okay, let's light the Traeger. Now, Traeger barbecues are horrendously difficult to fire up and light. Unlock the door. I'm being sarcastic, of course. It's the easiest thing in the world. Done. Now we walk away and we wait for that thing to warm up a little bit. I'm gonna put the rest of this mix in a little container and I'm gonna make some burgers out of that tomorrow, I think. Probably gonna be the strangest tasting burgers I've ever eaten. But anyways, I wanna do something different. I'm worn out now. Oh man. And see, this is great. We've got a nice accessible kitchen here. This counter, I can get right underneath it. And if I was gonna use the oven, it's, you know, a side swinging door that's at a nice height. There's even a pull out, I mean, technically a cutting board, but This is great for when you're trying to get stuff out of the oven. So I should have no complaints. This should be the easiest possible cooking experience that I could ask for. But your arms have to work. Well, I mean mine work, obviously. Look, so I'm not complaining in any way. I have a lot of function. But it is still difficult to do things. So my whining and complaining and moaning, just take it with a grain of minced onion. Now we have this mess to deal with. Well, there's always later. I'm gonna go eat my chicken nuggets and watch some YouTube and something. To further complicate matters, I just remembered, oh man, that is not enough to do an hour-long cook. Dang it. Actually, I think it ran dry, so I'm gonna have to restart it. Okay. Plan B. We're gonna let this thing get going again, and I'm gonna go buy some more pellets while it's already in here. And something. There we go. Beef for later. Now, I know one of you is sending me coffee. It has not arrived yet. And I ran out of cold brew this morning. In the meanwhile, we're gonna do another batch of the Seattle's Best Portside Blend Medium Roast. This stuff is fantastic when it's cold brewed. Let's go ahead and load this in here. Uh-oh. It might be a little bit over full. Let's grind a little bit of it right now just to get the lid back on this. Let's see, there we go. Plug it in and shield your ears, children. That'll do. If you do happen to follow along with the cold brew saga, this stuff is great. I use the OXO cold brew system. The best way though to do this stuff is grind it fairly coarse to medium, something like that. And then you want to use, where are they? They seem to have lost the little thingies. Anyways, there's paper filters that go inside. There's paper filters that go inside this thing, and those you want to use with this stuff. But anyways, this stuff, sort of coarse, medium grind, paper filter, and cold brew it for 8 to 10 hours, and it is awesome. Turns out they were right down there. Yeah, these little paper filters go inside the, I'll just leave them up here, go inside the brewing apparatus on top of the wire mesh filter. Should, however, get this thing into the barbecue and get over to the store and get some more of the pellet fuel. Otherwise, dinner is going to be extremely late. Although that shouldn't necessarily matter since I'm snacking on chicken nuggets in the meanwhile. And it said to cook it uncovered, so there it is. Oh yeah. 350. Oh, the pellet fuel situation is critical. All right, we need to scurry to the store real quick. made it back just in time. It had gotten down to 300 degrees when I came out here, and it was dropping, so it's gonna recharge the auger tube and then relight the burner. Actually, I'm gonna give it just a minute here, and then I'm gonna turn it off and back on, and that will reignite the burner. It smells amazing out here, though. I can tell you that much. Yeah, when you're running one of these Traegers and you run out of pellet fuel while it's in operation, it takes a few minutes for that auger to recharge with pellets, and a lot of times the flame will be out, and even though it recharges, it won't actually light. So you have to give it a few minutes and wait for it to get some more pellets into the burn box, then restart it, and that fires up the glow plug in there and gets it started again. And as you can see now, we have a little bit of smoke, which means it has relit, and you can hear the fiery furnace noises in there. So we set it back to 350, and our temperature should start climbing back up here in a minute. This grinder has a pretty serious static electricity problem, and I don't quite understand it. If you grind more than, I don't know, 1 or 2 bins of it, the whole thing just gets charged with static, and then the coffee clings to everything, as you can see here on the side of it. I don't understand that, but whatever. I'll have to clean that up now. I kind of forgot about the chicken nuggets. We're gonna have to reheat these things now. They're definitely not good anymore. Luckily, we already have the Traeger fired up, so I can just throw these in here next to the meatloaf. And we should have... Should I put these in the fridge? Eh, we'll heat them all up. And we're gonna have chicken nuggets and meatloaf. Gonna have lots of leftovers today, whatever this is. It's dark outside, so evening, obviously. I'm trying to drive my chair with my forearm while holding this. Probably not the best way to do that. And we need some more light in here. Okay, I do believe we have meatloaf now. It smells good. I'm not sure quite what's going on over here, but it shrunk up a little bit. We'll let this sit for a while and cool. Then we're going to do a taste test. Because you know me and my food reviewing shenanigans constantly, right? This is one of my pet peeves. Sitting and staring at food waiting for it to cool. Drives me absolutely insane. I do believe the time has come to see if this is in fact edible or not. Looks like meatloaf. Okay, this is amazing. I don't know if it's because of all the extra garbage I put in there, or if because it was cooked on a Traeger barbecue with mesquite smoked pellets, but this is good stuff. I'm gonna have to do this again. All right, well there you go. I know I just said I want to do it again, but I might have someone else do it for me next time. Although I didn't exactly take note of the amount of ingredients I put in. I just sort of threw everything in the bowl, but anyways, good enough for now.